So annoying. Welcome everybody to Crossing the Stream. Sorry we started a second early, but you missed a second. You can catch it in the replay. Welcome to episode 112 of Crossing the Streams. Isn't that crazy?
It's a lot of episodes.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of
here
episodes.
for like 5 of them.
Well, but think where you'll be next year. It's like yeah, this will be like huge on your resume.
224.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Yeah, I got that too.
All right, let's do the theme song real quick. Marcy, kick us off.
Ah, nice.
Here's a story of some lonely fellas who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
Ron.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff, Ron, Sal, and Bob, and there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we crossed the streams.
We crossed the
streams.
We crossed
the streams.
Oh,
that's the
way we do it here. We
cross the streams.
Speaking of Brady Bunch songs, my Monday episode, the 17th, Peter Brady himself, Christopher Knight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
so
fantastic.
Cute.
It's a good one. It's a good one. The so that's fun. And then let's see what we got here. Hang on, we got some guests. Oh, we got Marcy's Marcy Jeff and French story.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. But it's funny. Hey, what's up, Jerry? Hey, Lee. What's up, Lee?
Hello, Lee.
What's up, people?
What's up?
Hello,
everybody?
Jerry.
What's up, brother? My brother's here. I love it.
Yeah, he's here. He guested on a previous episode.
Yeah.
And then I saw that he posted an old Bruce Springsteen ticket that was $17. He paid $17 to see Bruce.
Oh, it was $17 on the ticket. He probably paid $3.50 for it.
Oh man, that's funny. Cool. What do we got? All right, so we're episode 112. We got a tight show, just 3 of us. We got 3 awesome shows for you today. What do we got? Well, let's recap. Oh, before I forget. He's on sabbatical, but he's going to be back one day. Howard Rosner. It's Howard Rosner's birthday.
Howard.
So shout out to Howard Rosner.
Sexier than ever.
Yeah, what is he? I think he's like 35. It's his 35th birthday. Yeah. So best to Howard.
Happy birthday, Howard.
He's could not be here for this, but we wish him the best.
Sal and Bobby are off, making trouble.
I think Sal's headlining this week or something.
Good for him.
Local, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, that's great.
So they'll be back soon.
Birthday. Didn't I just wish him a happy birthday or no?
Yeah, one of them I think had a birthday, so it's all good. And then Elon sold Twitter or he changed the name. I don't know what he did. It's all screwed up.
That's interesting. And I just saw that HBO is changing its streaming network now. Did you guys see that?
No.
Are they calling it Max?
Yep. They're just getting rid of HBO and it's just going to be called Max, which I think is the dumbest thing ever because we all grew up with Cinemax. And so it's like, which was a competing network. So whatever.
Wait, they're not going to be HBO anymore?
The Max streaming network is going to, Max is owned by HBO.
Okay, so it's still HBO, and then the app that I have is now just going to be called Max.
It's going to be called Max.
Do you think they flipped a coin? How did they come up with Max and not HBO? I'm a team HBO.
I feel like there's a lot of name changes.
Jared just gave us the answer that they bought Discovery and are merging them.
They bought Discovery, right? But that doesn't explain Max. Call it Discovery. That's a better name.
I agreed, Jeff. Discovery would have been a better name.
I mean, you have the name Discovery and you go with Max.
Yeah, right. They got a slight branding issue over there at HBO, but they produce some good shows.
That is true. That is true.
I didn't hear that.
It was like breaking news. It was like just happening. Yeah. So, are you guys keeping up with Ted Lasso? We're not going to review it or anything, but
We're all over it. It's so good. It's just so freaking good. And I don't want to review it either, but I'll just say there's a slight altered vibe to this season. I'll just say that without ruining anything for folks who haven't watched it yet.
It is a different vibe. We had a guess. Remind after the show. Robin has a guess of how it ends, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder.
It's great. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't in any way dilute how great the show is, but it is a slightly different vibe. It's a little darker, a little more interesting, less on the culture side of Ted Lasso, and more, I think, playing out some of the characters, which is fine. I think it's great as long as it's well written.
yeah.
I love
And then the other show that I'm watching that we talked about on the show previously that just came back is Succession.
Right.
Succession. I don't want to say there was like a huge episode 3. It was. Did you watch it, Marcy?
Okay, so I try. It's one of those Schitt's Creeks for me. It's like I've pushed through about 4 episodes of Succession, and then we give up. And
Succession.
I need.
We
I gotta go
we are
back.
so obsessed with Obsession. When we're on
my.
vacation, if it's on, we make sure we're back at the hotel so we can watch it
Oh
when
wow.
it airs.
Well,
And
that's-
this past episode was probably one of the best episodes of any
Okay.
show ever.
How many seasons is it? How much do I
This
have?
is the
to get?
4th and final.
Okay, so I just got to get to that Yellowstone point. You know, there was a time I
So-
watched Yellowstone and stopped. So.
Marcy, it's so funny because I was literally just going to bring up Yellowstone for the exact same reason. I can't get past whatever line it is in Yellowstone.
It takes about 6 episodes.
See?
About 6 episodes of Yellowstone, and then it's brilliant. And then you're like, Taylor Sheridan
So let me ask you a
is a
question.
god amongst men.
What if I were to say, like, what if you were, I know you got, everyone's married. Are you married? You're married. I met your wife. Okay, so we're all married. But what if I said, like, all right, you're going to like her, but it's going to take you 6 days. I mean, it's like, it's hard to get to 6 shows if you're not enjoying.
The problem
the first
is
5.
if we were having this conversation, say 10 years ago, we all would suffer through it because there wasn't just so much content out there now that's so good. Now, frankly, 6 episodes is too much time.
Well,
there's better things out there now earlier.
I agree
There's
with
a lot
you.
out there.
If Yellowstone was an unknown and you were watching it and you bailed, you'd be like, okay. However, got to put everything in context. So here we are with 5.5 seasons, 2 spinoffs, right? 2 prequels,
Right.
and it's just a juggernaut. So it's amazing. So for me then to say, after the 6th episode, just keep going, because then you'll appreciate the 6 episodes. It's not like the first 6 episodes are bad. It just doesn't grab you, right? You're like, I don't get it. But at some point it becomes like addictive. And so that's you just got to get to the point where those characters mean something to you, and then it fully pays off. Knowing it pays off, I think is important.
I do think there's some truth to. You also have to have a little bit of faith in the production. You know who's in it. You know it's going to end up building momentum. So you kind of have to have faith in that, because similarly, from my standpoint, I was not a fan of the first couple episodes of House of the Dragon coming off of Game of Thrones. And I just had to have faith that it would get there. And sure enough, it did. It picked up steam right around, I think, 3rd or 4th episode. And then it became really, really good. They need to work on that, though. I'm in the opinion that you got to be good quick now. It's I don't think people are willing to wait so long typically.
It's hard. It's hard to come out fully formed and do that. Now, House of Dragon, though, has had Game of Thrones, so and a book, so it had a lot it could lean on. So, and then The Mandalorian started again. I'm enjoying it a lot. My wife's enjoying it a lot. A lot of chatter online that the fans aren't happy with this season. Like, what do you guys want? What do you want? I mean, it's like, I don't get it.
Fisherman's Secret Garden says the House of Dragon has maintained this level of boredom throughout. so there you have it.
I stopped watching that too.
Yeah.
No, Aaron, it's still good even with the spoiler. The episode itself is incredible. So, all right. So what do we got? Let's let's talk about some shows. We can always kind of banter back if we think of something else. Last week on episode 111, we talked about Bad Batch, Picard, Shrinking, which if you're not watching, everyone must watch it. Best of the Best. Larry Roberts came back to give us the 80s finest. And I tried to match Larry with my 80s Aliens. So we did that last show. And then today we have The Night Agent, Sex Life, and Parks and Recreation. I've been teasing I was going to do this, and I'm going to do it. I finally saw Parks and Recreation. So let's kick things off with Sex Life.
Wow, right out of the gate.
Mm.
Well, it's so funny that we started talking about Cinemax when Sex Life is just right out of the Skinemax days, but so much better. So, have you guys seen Sex Life?
No, haven't even seen it served up in my algorithm. Tell us about it.
And you, Jeff, you haven't seen it either.
No,
so Sex Life is on Netflix, and it's 2 seasons. It just came out recently that there will not be a third, so you only have 2 seasons to watch. So Sex Life is very popular amongst women. I'm assuming your wives know the show, and I'm thinking there's a good chance that they've watched it without you, which is what I suggest. Ladies,
is it a 50 Shades of Grey thing behind the scenes?
It's like it's a hot show. It's called Sex Life, and I'm just going to tell you what it's about. So, suburban housewife Billy is married to a successful, good-looking man who loves her. They have 2 children, and they have a fabulous, luxurious life in Connecticut. She's well-educated and gorgeous, and she's starting to miss her past life before she had a family. So her husband, Cooper, who, and by the way, all these characters are gorgeous. He finds his wife's journal and reads it and realizes that she's fantasizing about her ex-boyfriend from the past, Brad. And Brad is hot, and she can't stop thinking about him. So this makes her husband very insecure and starts to worry. So this is an entire season about a family and decent characters with a pretty good story, hot fantasies by a suburban housewife, and it's a ton of fun. All right, now let's see if anyone else has seen it. Do we have any ladies listening right now? Did I see anyone chatting? Lee here? I don't know. Anyway, it is a blast. Anytime one of my friends and I talk about it, or I'm trying to, oh, you got to see Sex Life, they don't even know what it is. It doesn't come up on their screen. They've never seen it. I'm like, don't watch it with your husband.
Wait, so was this served up to you and you kind of discovered it, or did you already know about it?
So for me, it was hilarious because this is what happened with me. It's very late. I am in bed with my husband is snoring. He's passed out cold. I accidentally served myself a cup of regular coffee instead of decaf, and I'm wide awake. And I grabbed my AirPods and my phone, and I clicked my Netflix on my phone, which I very rarely ever do. And it just pops up. I'd never heard of it. It popped up, and I pressed play, and I had no idea. And next thing you know, when I started talking to people about it, everyone had seen it. It came out in July of 2021, and it is just the old soft porn Skinemax, but with real characters. It's about, 10 episodes each season. I think that they ended it great. I love when a show knows when they're over and they can really give you a decent ending instead of crap or some stupid cliffhanger. You're just done with these characters. It's fine. So, which is funny because 50 Shades of Grey, I only needed one of those. I never read the other book.
So is there any, not to sound like a guy, but is there any violence? Is there any action? Is there any revenge?
There is. So it's to get more into it. So, the husband is insecure and the ex-boyfriend is, of course, it's not just fantasized, he ends up coming back into the picture. and there's the school and the parents and the moms and the judgments and then the swingers, of course there's gonna be swingers. And then there's violence, there's jealousy, and there's cars, like fast, good looking, like hot, like cars, and like punches and fires, and it's a regular show. It's just they're showing a lot more when it comes to sex. And
I'm
really
seeing
hot.
there's a lot of sex in this show, apparently.
A lot of sex, and it's really, really, really hot.
And it's made by women for women, so it's got to be good.
I think that it was necessary. Like, good for you, Netflix. I mean, you guys got
how is the sex music?
I don't. Yeah, you know what? I don't remember. I just remember just watching it, going, "Yeah, this is fun. Good."
It's not like stringed instruments, or is it more like?
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. It's like not porn. It's really a story where they just get more intimate.
Right.
And listen, this is everybody. I mean, like, I don't know, porn's probably making more money online than anything right now. So to have this on Netflix, where it's a little bit less sex.
So I just have to say, Jeff. So I was not served this up personally in my algorithm, but what I was served up, and I thought about reviewing for us, was the Pornhub story.
Oh, you got to. We should.
Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix right now.
I saw it in email, and I think I shared it with everyone in the thing, but I never actually saw it. I mean, on Netflix, but I bet that's an interesting.
I watched like the first 20 minutes of it. It's funny. I'm sorry. Now I don't want to digress away from Marcy's great review, but I'll just say that they try really hard to make it a real documentary. But anyone watching it really is hoping that it's like that. It's actually Pornhub showing like porn stuff. But it is an interesting story. But back to Marcy's review.
Yeah.
Casey Ryan Plot is convinced. We're going OG. So, hey, Marcia, so I was reading online, Adam Demos, who plays, I think, the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend,
Brad,
and Sarah Shahi.
Yeah, they are together in real life because they had so much hot sex with all the directors and lights and key grips and everything. Like, they started dating outside the studio. They're in love. Yep. And they didn't bring it back because she was very vocal about how cheesy she thought the second season was. Which it kind of was, but then it kind of got a little bit better, and they still had all the sex. So I was like, that's pretty good. And
it's got to suck for him to lose that job.
Well, I mean, he still has it after work, but
that'll go. It's like camp, It's like right where you have that when it's that enclosed thing, and then once that's gone, it's things you're kind of. You know what I mean? Like the camp relationships don't always last. It's I gotta imagine this is like the same thing.
I don't know. They seem pretty hot and heavy.
All right. Well, hey, we wish them the best. Everyone here at Crossing the Streams wishes Adam and Sarah nothing but love for life.
So are you excited to find out if your wives have actually seen it?
I can tell you right now, my wife has not seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I am going to suggest it to her.
Jeff, you don't think your wife has watched it?
No, but my wife is watching right now and is obsessed with Community.
Oh God, that's awesome.
She's just discovering it.
Oh,
so
great. Well, it's like that, but less funny and way more sex.
Well, speaking of less funny and way more sex, I'm going to talk about Parks and Recreation. I'm very excited to talk about Parks and Recreation. Have you guys seen Parks and Recreation?
We have. In fact,
you have
my daughter. One of my daughters and I. It's the basis of our entire language with each other is just Parks and Rec lines.
So my oldest daughter was very obsessed with it, and I kicked myself because I interviewed John Glazer, who was Councilman Jeremy Jam, but I hadn't seen Parks and Rec yet, so I didn't have the context of that character other than whatever ancillary research I could do online. And so like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I'd known this. Oh, that would have been such a different discussion. So Parks and Rec. I'm a little behind. This this I think debuted in 2009 and ran to 2015 for 125 episodes for 7 seasons. This Parks and Rec takes place in the fictional Pawnee, Indiana. So upset to find out that isn't an actual place, but it's created by the same people who did the kind of helmed the American Office, and also these guys also created Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So they've got quite a repertoire. Parks and Rec, just a little trivia, was originally meant to be a spin-off of The Office. Interestingly enough, Rashida Jones, who was in Parks and Rec and was in The Office, was the first person hired, but wasn't going to play the person that she played in The Office. They realized this is all a little too confusing. So it really just kind of ended up being like more the mockumentary style of The Office versus, being a straight up spin-off. But this is one of the greatest shows. In watching this show, what basically happened as seasons would go by, you're like, oh, that's that meme. Oh, that's that audio thing on TikTok, just over and over and over again. And I got to say, I was introduced to Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, right? So to me, Chris Pratt was kind of the new Harrison Fordy type Indiana Jones, awesome character. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and I loved him as Star-Lord. So watching him as this kind of chubby, hilarious guy, he is so good in Parks and Rec. It made me wish that he would do more of that. He's so funny with his characters and the songs he would sing and everything. So I was watching, which I thought was a really good kind of description of the 7 seasons of Parks and Rec, kind of a reunion show after, and they kind of described it as a real life Simpsons, where they over this time created such a universe with so many little supporting characters that they could bring in at any time and just kind of work in as they needed, that this entire kind of just universe just really, really kind of melded over the years. And when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Really
Henry Winkler would just show up every now and then. Ben Schwartz, John Ralphio. You're gonna love this review. It's long. The and then just everything. I mean, the cast is insane. So here's the interesting thing. We talked about Parks and Rec on an earlier show, and Rosner, and I think maybe you too, Ron, you're like, Rosner was very adamant. It started in season 3. Season 1 is not great. And I had tried to start with Parks and Rec probably 3 times and couldn't make it through season 1. It was really the Aubrey Plaza White Lotus that my wife and I, we kind of really got into Aubrey Plaza. And I'm like, well, she's in this show, Parks and Rec, and she's supposed to be hilarious in it. And so that's what we kind of pushed through. But, it isn't the problem with the first season of Parks and Rec is that it is very, very different than the other seasons. And one of the reasons that's the case is that when Amy Poehler got this done, they shot all 6 of those episodes at the same time. So it wasn't like they did a pilot and they could figure it out. They shot all 6. So it was done. It was in the can. So when the feedback came back that her character, was a little too maybe Michael Scottish, and like, they don't need another character like that. And it was like, there was just some pieces of it that didn't click. That's one of the reasons there was no pivot in season 1, and where they started the pivot in season 2. And by the end of season 2, by bringing in Adam Scott and Rob Lowe as Ben Wyatt and Chris Traeger, they then completely transformed the show once it entered season 3.
Yeah.
But it was, it was the thing that I've loved about Parks and Recreation the most is that I don't feel like I've ever watched a show that legitimately the characters and the feelings for each other and the friendships and how they actually felt and cared about each other felt so real, especially like just kind of watching it straight through. The Ron Swanson relationship with Amy Poehler's character, Leslie Knope, and just all of them, how they interacted. It was to
Yeah.
me, I can't think of another show where it was that good, where those relationships were that tight. And
Yeah.
to me, that we actually, when we got to the end, and it was a two-parter end where they kind of go into the future and you find out what happened to everyone, which I'm not going to spoil any of them, but we kind of stopped. We didn't want to finish watching the show. And I got to say also is like when I would tell people that we're rewatching it or watching it for the first time, it was the only show I've ever said that about, where people were jealous that we were experiencing it for the first time. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You're getting, because they understood how good the show was, and like that we're doing it that first time. And so that was pretty cool. So what do you guys think?
Yeah. So listen, one of the things that I think that's remarkable about Parks and Rec is the ensemble cast and just the caliber of talent that came to work on that show. And I've thought about this, that it's like, and a lot of them were young talents. Aubrey Plaza was mostly unknown back in the early days of Parks and Rec. So it calls to the question: does the show writing make them stars, or were they stars that were going to happen anyway, and it just happened that Parks and Rec just discovered them all as talent? It's kind of chicken and egg kind of thing. But there, if you just look up and down that cast list over the course of the years of that show, it is an incredible talent that ran through that cast. And Nick Offerman's amazing.
He is amazing. And Bye Bye Little Sebastian, Your 5,000 Candles in the Wind is so funny. So this is what's so funny, what I loved about this show, right? So there was the whole thing with Little Sebastian, and he passes away. That's what Aaron's referring to, is the song that Andy Dwyer, Chris Pratt sang in memory of him. And Ben Wyatt, Adam Scott's character, who's new to Pawnee. So Little Sebastian's like this legend in Pawnee. It's a pony. And but he doesn't get it. And then he has to pretend that he does get it, because everyone else can't understand why he doesn't understand how important Little Sebastian is, right? So you flash forward seasons, and then they're doing this huge concert. There was this whole concert at Pawnee where they reunited a fictional band, and Andy Dwyer's playing, and they play this song, and they just cut to Adam Scott, and all he does is this. He just makes a face like he still doesn't get it, but it's like that's all it was. And it was just like, to me, that was like so brilliant that they could recall an entire plot line from like a different thing just by going to a look on his face where he's like, I still don't get it. I still don't get it. And it's like half a second. It was like those kind of things were peppered throughout always. And they would, it was just really great. But Billy Eichner was like a later thing when they Pawnee merged with Eagleton. At first I was like, I didn't. And then I was like, I came to love this guy so much on this show, like the way he would scream and stuff like that. But it was really clever. I think one of the most clever things they did was they knew when not to retread the same things. Like Rashida Jones had a baby, and then Leslie Knope gets pregnant, but then they flash forward and she already has her twins. They flash forward 3 years. They don't make us sit through another character having a baby, even though she's, so important to the show. And I thought that time jump really kind of was great. And then how they handled everything. And John Glazer is great. Henry Winkler shows up every now and then. Jenny Slate's hilarious. Paul Rudd is hilarious in this. Catherine Hahn shows up every now and then. I mean, it's just like the cast and everybody is just so insane. And every one of those characters. I had heard that Aubrey Plaza was just crazy, and they just wrote to it. They just,
She is nuts. I mean, her character is nuts. She's nuts. Perfect casting up and down. And Amy Poehler, I just think she's one of the funniest people on the planet. So to me, that there are very few perfect shows, particularly in comedy. I think Parks and Rec is definitely near the top of that list. So it's a great show. I'm glad you had a chance to go back through that again. I like to go back through to see if I miss any like memes or little nuggets that I can send off that to my kids that would make sense to them. Like that's what it's become now.
It shows up. I wish they had made an album of all of Chris Pratt's songs. You're in the pit. We're in the pit. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so many great songs that he sings. And I gotta say, he is so funny.
Yeah,
I couldn't
he's
get
a
over
very
it.
funny guy. But he's funny in other shows. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think he's pretty funny and
He's sarcastically funny. He's like a little different kind of funny, but this is like just total goofball. I mean, it's like
it's true. He's Office Rocker in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, but Aziz Ansari is great.
Yeah, he's always great.
Rob Lowe, literally. I mean, somebody's got to have out there how many times he said literally.
Right, people forget how talented, how versatile Rob Lowe is. Rob Lowe is a very funny guy. His comedy is actually excellent.
Wayne's World and
Wayne's World and Tommy Boy and he's very capable of delivering hilarity.
And now he's got this new show that I just turned off after 10 minutes.
Oh, well,
what is it?
Unstable.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Hey, listen, it could be the greatest show in the world. I just need to get through those first
6 episodes, right? All right. Well, Parks and Rec you can watch on Peacock. It's on Peacock.
Yeah. Nice.
And I do recommend everyone kind of dive in.
I'm going to go back and finish it.
Nice job, Jeff.
It's a good one.
All right. What do we got? Oh, I'm trying to find. Boom. There we go. All right. Let's finish it up. We got one more. This is going to be good.
Yeah, because Marcy and I have to have a fight now.
All right. We're going to talk about The Night Agent.
Yep.
Ron, take it away.
So let's talk about this for a second. So just know this right off the bat, it's the #1 show on Netflix right now, right? Here to put this in perspective, it's the #5 series in Netflix history at the moment. Its first week on Netflix had 168 million hours of worldwide views, which was the 3rd highest ever for Netflix. Second week had 216 million hours, also 3rd highest. So this is a big show for Netflix, which proves what I'm going to tell you now. I know nothing about what the American public wants to watch, because I'm here to tell you this is a piece of shit series. It is an utterly predictable, badly acted, ridiculously scripted piece of crap. And like if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 71 on Rotten Tomatoes, but if you go ahead and read the reviews by people way smarter than me, they'll tell you this is an utterly forgettable, laughable Mick drama that is somehow satisfying for people. Like it satisfies what you want in a spy drama. And so just let me give you guys the plot. FBI agent Peter Sutherland is thrown into a vast conspiracy about a mole at the highest level of the United States government. To save the nation, he plunges into a desperate hunt for the traitor while protecting CEO Rose Larkin from the people who murdered her aunt and uncle. And from a plot standpoint, actually, it was pretty good. The first moments of the show, I actually had hopes because it was interesting. This woman witnessed the murder of her aunt and uncle. It called into question the very possibility that her aunt and uncle might not have been who they had always said they were going to be. An FBI agent goes rogue to protect this person, and what you find out through that first episode is everyone's trying to kill her. Right? So that's a great setup. Exciting, right? But then like talk about not being able to sustain it. Like this thing dies on the vine so fast. The acting is so bad in this show. There are moments when my wife and I would watch the show and look at each other like, is this as bad as I actually think it is in terms of the acting? There's one person on this show, Hong Chow, who I've never heard of before. She plays the director of the FBI and is without going into any detail, is kind of like a character that you don't fully understand as the show runs on. But she's a central character. And I'm here to tell you that I have seen middle school actors better than this woman
I'll give
I
you that
can't
one. She
I
sucks.
cannot believe that they picked her to have such an important role. Here's something amazing that
She
you don't
knows
hear about
someone.
so often. What's that? Yeah, but she must have. It's all I can figure out. The show is so widely watched that it's already been greenlit for season 2, and it's already in pre-production already, and it's still on its first run right now for Netflix. This is how little I understand about what people consume on Netflix. This was produced by Sony, and the decision to start this was in 2020. In 2021, Sony began pre-production on it. It was quickly purchased by Netflix. They must have saw something that I didn't see, and they bought it. And whatever they bought and put in there, they installed a new production crew and a new director. You haven't heard of any of these actors, I promise you. You don't know who these people are. Half of them aren't even American. And yet here it is. And what do I know? They scored a home run with this thing. Like I said, Rotten Tomatoes has them right now at a 75. It is absolutely a bingeable show. It's designed to be kind of like a recreational bingeable show, but it, as Rotten Tomatoes goes on to say, it is really forgettable. Like you're going to binge through it, you're going to enjoy it, and then you'll completely forget about all of the characters and all the things that kind of connected this. It is 10 episodes. Each episode is between 45 and 60 minutes. There's a fair amount of action. There's no nudity. There's implied sexual stuff, but it's really just an action flick, and it's exactly what you think it is. So I appreciate. Here we are, in April of 23, post-COVID. I appreciate shows that grab you and that can distract you for 10 episodes. And I will begrudgingly admit that the story of the show is interesting, but the acting is terrible. The production is lousy. There's a couple turns in the show that are ridiculous. Oh, I will just say one thing. In my mind, so by the way, you root for nobody. There are no characters in the show to root for at all. Least of all the FBI director. But I will say, for me, and Marcy, I'm interested in your opinion on this, the best characters on the show were actually side characters who were paid assassins on the show. Those are the ones who I wanted to find out more about. Like, they were the ones who I thought were the most interesting and the best casted. And these should have been the lead people on the show. In fact, they should have scrubbed the whole plot line of the show and made the whole show about being assassins for the government, because they were the best part of the show. And I wish they had built out a good
I think that's
character
a sequel, Ron, The Night Assassins.
maybe it is.
The woman, one of them is a woman, and she is fabulous.
She's fabulous.
She's fabulous.
Marcy,
right.
there I 100% agree.
She was fabulous. And I looked her up once during one episode, because it is the kind of show that you can pick your phone up and take a little peeky at your phone and maybe send some emails and still love. I love this show. But I do like a show where I don't have to 100% pay attention. I can heckle who was she? The Asian woman she was
the FBI director.
The FBI director.
Yeah.
She, I didn't think
it was
bad.
Bad. It was bad.
But I enjoyed the chasing and the running and the fighting and the whole who's good, who's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking for the comments right now.
I think that's for you.
I think our comments, the comments seem to imply exactly what I just said at the beginning, which is clearly I don't understand what people like anymore, because people are disagreeing with me.
Well, okay. So the woman who told me to watch this show in a text at 8:00 in the morning was Audrey Khan, the one who's messaging you right now.
Okay.
That's my mom. And it was so funny because she loved it. And I'm like, oh, we will start watching it tonight. And we did love it. But it's silly and fun. And I did not think that the acting was that bad. I enjoyed the main characters very much, and I thought they were just fine. But it was silly. And oh God, I think like 100 times I said I would say something and then they would say it. And I'd say to my husband, I gotta wrote this show. I love that.
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
it's predictable.
That's my favorite time of TV is when you say the line that comes
You say
before
the
it.
same. I'm like, how can you wrote this? You know,
Yeah,
and I did
yeah,
that
it- it-
I did like 8 times.
So listen, not every show has to be like this articulate piece of Shakespeare, right? It's you can have mixed shows that are fun, right?
Mhm.
And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But with that comes the responsibility that you at least got to have a decent acting and not disappoint you with some. I don't want to give away some of the turns that the show makes, but there's a couple screwball turns on this that that are eye rolling. But whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's one of those when someone gets up to like I'm gonna go get a drink and I'm gonna go to the refrigerator. Should I pause it? No, you don't have
Yeah.
to pause it on Night Agent. I'll be okay.
It's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah,
I'm still very, very happy. And we binged it. We watched it really fast.
Yeah.
So I want to.
How many
Oh, go ahead.
episodes is it?
It's 10 episodes,
10
which brings up another point, Jeff, was that I think that's, in my opinion, as you might expect me to say, it's like 2 or 3 episodes too long. They could have rounded this thing out pretty quick. Hi, Marcy's mom. Marcy's mom seems like a
She's
cool
stealing
person.
it.
Marcy's
show.
mom has got
Yeah.
it going on.
Yeah. So Marcy's mom, maybe
Oh.
you not to invite her on your behalf, Jeff, but it sounds like she might be a good person to have as a guest on the show.
We've had almost the entire Cozy
The whole
family.
family.
Might as well.
I have a lot of siblings. I'm the youngest of 5. So I wanted to say one other thing about Audrey Kahn, and maybe you'll like this one better, but she also did tell me to watch Rabbit Hole, which is kind of like this, but with Kiefer Sutherland, and maybe you'd like that one better. But
Okay.
Mom, I'm loving it. Thank you.
Mm.
Rabbit Hole on Paramount Plus. Kiefer Sutherland, really good. But
Got
anyway,
it.
it's kind of like
I had actually heard,
kinda like the same
I had
thing.
heard about that, and I know. So again, I don't have Paramount Plus. Jeff, do you have Paramount Plus?
Yes.
Maybe I need to make a.
That's the one that used to be
investment.
CBS, right?
Yeah.
Aaron, do you mind if I give everyone your username and password?
Right. So when we're ready, Jeff, I want to circle back around to a different show, but I don't want to get off of Night Agent if people still want to talk about it.
I think we're good.
Okay. Can I circle back around to a show that had been previously reviewed? And that
You want to do Sex Life again?
No. I want to talk about Kunk on Earth on Netflix. And I don't know who reviewed it, but I wasn't on that show, and I just want to say we are having so much fun with this show. It is such an interesting, hilarious, well-designed, laugh a minute. I mean, some of the moments on this show are so uproariously funny that we have to stop the show and rewind it because we couldn't believe we heard what we just heard. That's how funny this show is. And this woman who is Philomena Kunk, I don't know where I don't know her history. I don't know where she came from. She's obviously a comedian, but this is a really smart, funny show. So I'm hoping Ted Lasso's this where she continues that character, doing other things. Because as you may recall, Ted Lasso was not, Lasso was a commercial before Netflix before Apple TV Plus got hold of them. Yeah,
it was a promo for the Premier League.
It was a promo for the Premier League.
Like a 10-minute movie they made.
For-
Yeah.
What was it a promo for?
For Premier League soccer, for European
Premier
soccer.
League.
They tried to advertise it in the United States by getting a bumbling American who didn't know anything, and that was the birth of the character Ted Lasso. So
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping Philomena Kunk does all kinds of things. Like I could see her doing awards shows. I could see her, that character is
she like a Tracy Ullman kind of thing, or what is she doing?
She's
like,
she's I said that she's sort of a female Ali G. Not quite as offensive as Ali G, but funnier.
So she's getting in front of real people.
Yes.
I'm surprised you haven't seen her on TikTok. That's how I discovered it. She was. They play the clips on TikTok all the time. It's really funny.
It's really funny, and she's catching on with the young people, which is a mark of how funny it is. Because if it's not funny with the Gen Zers, then it's not funny. It's not going to sell. So whatever she's doing, everyone seems to like it. So if you haven't seen Kunk on Earth, I highly, highly recommend it on Netflix.
Okay. I turned it on once, it was too late, and so I don't really remember it. But I remember that it was reviewed, and it was a good review.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So let me ask you guys. I don't want to review it either, but have you guys watched, or maybe you can watch, and we'll talk about another show, Daisy Jones and the Six?
Watched one. I'll probably go back when I'm really bored. You? Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. But I was curious what I have an opinion on it, but
well, so do you want to share your opinion?
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe just have a full kind of discussion about it, because I think it's worthy of a full discussion, because I think
Should I finish it then?
well, if you get as far as you want, I'm not going to.
Okay. 6 episodes.
There's only 6 episodes.
Okay. Who is she?
Oh wait,
She's
your
someone's
mom
daughter.
gave it a blah.
Oh, see,
a
give it a blah. One
Mhm.
episode.
All right, so maybe so. All right, so I'll give you my opinion. It doesn't mean we can't talk about who gets this far in the show anyway. The okay. So the idea of the show is, and it was a book. It was the book. It's a clever idea. It's based on a fictional '60s band, and it's meant to talk about how at the height of their popularity, everything fell apart, and now it's been 20 years, and they're reflecting on it, right? What went wrong? How do you become the biggest band in the world, and then it's over?
A VH1 behind the music.
Kind of. But here's the problem with it. The problem I had with it, and I honestly, I keep thinking about this show. That's part of the problem. One of them, there's one episode that I don't even know. There's like maybe 8 episodes, and it probably could have been 6, maybe. But here's the thing. Like, if I'm watching a documentary, right, and it's on Fleetwood Mac, which is kind of feels like it's based a little bit on Fleetwood Mac.
Sounds like it.
And I'm watching that, and I hear Stevie Nicks talking, Lindsey Buckingham, any of those. I have a built-in kind of emotional attachment to it, whether positive, negative. The songs mean something to me. So when they go back and they go like this, then it still means something to me, because I know who they are, right? I think the problem with that first episode of Daisy Jones is they didn't establish and make us care enough to give a shit about why they're now even reflecting on it and why we should be interested in it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like, hey, they were the biggest band ever. Just take our word for it. Now let's figure out what went wrong. Now, the music's great. They sound great. And she is Elvis Presley's granddaughter. Right. And so that's actually them singing. I said to my wife once we were driving, I go, if you tell me right now that they're not actually singing, I'm done. I'm out. I can't take 2 levels of fake. I can't take that they're in a fake band and lip syncing. That's just too much for me. And turns out, though, they both learned to sing, or at least, and they sing good. They sing good. And these songs are good. So that part is interesting. But I never really bought the, they're broken people. And I think you got to like understand why they're broken, or believe or buy into that. And it's like something didn't click for me, but some people were like, it's the best show, so
a lot of people, right? But I'm not going back now.
Okay. All right.
I'll just download the playlist on Spotify or something.
Yeah, it's a good, definitely a good album. Good songs and stuff like that. The individual characters are good, and there's some really fun characters, but All right. Well, here we are at the end of a show. So thanks to Marcy's mom and brother for joining us, and of course Jerry and Lee. Thank you guys all, and Casey. So, Ron, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Massive travel the next few weeks. Jeff, I know you're out of town, so it won't affect the show, but catch me on Delta Airlines down south, out to San Francisco, and back to the East Coast again. So looking forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks.
All right. Marcy, say goodnight.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming. Mostly my mother. I'm so happy you joined us.
All right. We will return in May. Everyone's doing something, so we got a couple weeks off, but we'll show some reruns, which surprisingly do really well. All right, everyone.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff Dwoskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff Dwoskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.